All right, and we are live. We're not going to be going too far today. I don't have time, unfortunately, but I just wanted to get a stream up and running, and looks like we're good. So, we need to talk about Donald Trump and invading Greenland. Like, I'm still really focused on what's going on in Minnesota, but this is just so fucking funny that he is completely in. Like, what's funny about this is that it's true. Greenland is it's for all intents and purposes, it's a super strong ally to the United States of America. Like, it's a colony of Denmark, and it's in NATO, and like it's teamed up with the United States against the imperialist powers of Russia and China, assumably. But the only imperialist power that's threatening Greenland right now is the United States of America. So if we wanted to get American companies access to the natural resources of Greenland, we'd be able to do it. If we wanted to use it to beef up our military presence on the Arctic Circle, we'd be able to do that too. If we wanted to simply just like colonize Greenland through cultural methods, like getting more McDonald's there, we'd be able to do this. Like, we can we could do everything with Greenland that we possibly could want. But the only reason that Donald Trump is actually trying to take it over is because he has a narcissistic mental binge to him where he needs to actually physically own these lands. Like, he's just an imperialist dictator where he gets a warm and fuzzy feeling from being an imperialist dictator. It's just so funny. So well, like, what did Trump say? Trump Greenland interview. Let's look this up. Scott Bessent. Trump won't say whether he would use force to seize Greenland. Trump addresses Venezuela and Greenland. And of course, like, he's going to be using tariffs and stuff to try to take over Greenland, to try to pressure the European Union.
We need Greenland from a national security situation. It's so strategic. Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And Denmark is not going to be able to do it, I can tell you.
Not going to be able. Yeah, the only people threatening Greenland right now is the United States of America. And even if you thought that, like, oh, well, maybe we should have Greenland be a more defensive spot so that Russia and China won't be able to take it. You can put military bases on the country of Greenland without actually having taking it over. NPR News. Like that guy. Listening to this interview. Okay, I guess it wasn't this. Where's the Trump interview though, where he's saying that he wants to have Greenland? Trump logical Greenland. People.com. This is the only place I can find it. People.com. Donald Trump says he wants ownership of Greenland because it's psychologically important for me. Trump explained in a new interview with the New York Times why he won't just send more troops to Greenland to fend off foreign threats, which would be legal under a Cold War era agreement. He revealed in a new interview with the New York Times that his quest for full ownership of Greenland is psychologically important to him. During a 2-hour sit-down with multiple Times reporters on January 7th, Trump was questioned about why he won't just send more American troops to Greenland, which is legal under a Cold War era agreement, if his goal is to fend off foreign threats. The president replied by saying that he won't feel comfortable unless he owns the island. Why is ownership important here? Because that's what I feel is psychologically needed for success, Trump 79 replied. I think that ownership gives you a thing that you can't do, whether you're talking about a lease or a treaty. Ownership gives you things and elements that you can't get just from signing a document that you can have a base. White House correspondent Katie Rogers, whom Trump recently called ugly both inside and out, chimed in to ask, psychologically important to you or the United States? Psychologically important for me, Trump answered. Now, maybe another president would feel differently, but so far I've been right about everything. Dude, just can't make this shit up. It's so funny. Like, we are literally just at the whims of a petulant dictator man-child who just wants, like, everything that he says that he wants to get out of Greenland for the United States. Security, increased military presence, expanding the American imperialist lens, using, like, stealing their natural resources. He can do all of that without literally stealing it and invading it, taking it from Denmark and destroying NATO. But because he's a man-child and he's like, I want it to be mine, he insists on doing this, and it's literally just going to change the entire paradigm of our world right now. We're going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland. Classic excuse, right? We're not going to have Russia or China. I mean, this is the classic U.S. imperialism excuse. You just say, oh, well, if we don't do colonization, then another imperial power will do colonization. Which is what the point of international law is, right? The Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson responded during a press briefing by slamming Trump for using other countries as an excuse to pursue his own private interests. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen took to Facebook over the weekend to respond to the United States' increasing threats and share how the idea of freedom should never be compromised. Yeah, I mean, dude, no one should fucking be, no one should really be allies with the United States after this administration. Like, the United States has just proven to be an absolute horrible partner if you want to do anything. Economic productivity, horrible partner. Like, sovereignty for people around the world, horrible partner for it. What is the United States good for? Unless you're a dictator.
Greenland is essential.
Unless you're a dictator or you're looking for a massive country to justify imperialism, like, unless you're a dictator or another imperialist power, why would you ever want the United States to, like, why would you want to work with them?
For America's national security. The new domain of international competition is going to be polar competition. That is where more and more resources are being spent by our nation's adversaries and rivals, is the ability to control movement, navigation, lanes of travel in the polar and Arctic regions. Greenland is 25% larger than Alaska. Greenland is the size of
the Democrat Panthers. Dude. Yeah, look, if people want to fucking defend their neighborhoods from ICE, that's fine, but I don't know. I think there's a big difference between what we're seeing now and what the original Black Panther Party was. But yeah, I haven't looked into it too much. That's something that we should look at on this stream, though.
Is the size of 1/4 of the continental United States. With respect to Denmark, Denmark is a tiny country with a tiny economy and a tiny military. They cannot defend Greenland. They cannot control the territory of Greenland. Under every understanding of law that has existed about territorial control for 500 years, to control a territory, you have to be able to defend a territory, improve a territory, inhabit a territory. Denmark has failed on every single one of these tests. So they want us to spend hundreds of billions.
Basically just saying you have to, like, properly colonize it, and since Denmark has given a lot of leeway to the native population there, then they shouldn't own it. Like, it's just a very stark message when you have, I mean, essentially the shadow president of the United States, Stephen Miller, arguing that in order to have kind of like jurisdiction over a piece of territory, you need to have colonized it with an iron grip. Like, essentially, you needed to have done genocide. That's what he's saying. Yeah, and also he's like, you need to able to militarily defend a country in order to control it. Good luck with that. Like, the United States has a strong military, but they're not going to be able to defend all of their borders if every single country in the world is trying to do like a mass land grab on the country. Especially after 4 years of Trump, you think America is going to have like the economic prosperity that it's enjoyed before Donald Trump got into office, after every single country in the world just decides to cut America out of its trade deals? Oh, that sounds anti-Semitic. I mean, Stephen Miller, yeah, he's not the best person in the world to fight against anti-Semitic tropes, but this is not Jonathan Greenblatt. Criticizing him isn't criticizing all Jews, okay? That's Jonathan Greenblatt, the Pope of the Jews.
Of dollars defending a territory for them that is 25% bigger than Alaska at 100% American expense, but they say, while we do this, it belongs 100% to Denmark. It's a raw deal, it's an unfair deal, and most importantly, it's unfair to the American taxpayer, who have subsidized all of Europe's defense for generations now. American dollars, American treasure, American blood, American ingenuity is what keeps Europe safe and the free world safe. And Donald Trump's insisting that we be respected, Sean.
Safe from what? Safe from America? Like, that's what they're insinuating right now. Wait. 8 on the PSL. These things benefit America. Why is the left mad? If you really want me to answer that question, write another comment in chat. But, I mean, dude, that's pretty fucking obvious. Okay, so that's Stephen Miller defending Greenland. Defending the takeover of Greenland, essentially saying that they can't defend themselves, so we should just invade it. You would need to... Bro, what the fuck is going on in my chat? Stephen Miller is literally... Dude, there's videos of Stephen Miller standing behind Donald Trump being like, oh, yeah, these court rulings that ruled you're in the wrong, ruled you're correct. Like, he is the worm tongue to Donald Trump, and that's also implying that Donald Trump wants some kind of agency in his own presidency. Like, Stephen Miller is the one running the scenes. He's the one running ICE. What do you guys mean? It'd be anti-Semitic if I was like, oh, there's a cabal of Zionist Jews that are trying to control the country, but... Like, dude, this guy is literally the closest thing you can get to a shadow president. You want an answer. Dude, okay, listen, if you, why don't you tell me this? How will invading Greenland help the United States? If you want more military bases on Greenland or the United States, you can just do that already. You don't need to invade Greenland. If you want more natural resources from Greenland, and like more access for American companies to develop the natural resources from Greenland, you can do that already. You can work with the Danish government. You don't need to actually control Greenland. If you want Greenland to like love the United States more, you can just fucking like give aid to Greenland. If you, any of these things that you say might help the United States, you don't need to fucking invade Greenland and like have a military takeover of Greenland in order to get any benefit for the United States to come out of this. Invading Greenland is only going to do one thing, and that's fucking destroy NATO and isolate America from the rest of the world. Russia and China, sure, they're doing land grabs too, but if they... Well, I mean, Russia is. China is probably doing land grabs with like Taiwan eventually, but... they're actually, at least China is like a stable trading partner, and they're going to be there to offer more trades once America falls out of favor with the European Union and all of the rest of the countries of the world. So yeah, like, I don't know, man. Well, how the fuck is invading Greenland helping this country out? It's just ridiculous to even think that. Like, we're talking about the dissolution of NATO. We're talking about the entirety of the European Union being cut off from American markets. Danish politician accuses Stephen Miller of having the mentality of a rapist towards Greenland in shocking MS now. Oh,
Senior advisor Stephen Miller.
This is the shocking. This is the shocking interview.
Please take a listen to this. I'll get your reaction on the other side.
Denmark is a tiny country with a tiny economy and a tiny military. They can about territorial control for offended territory.
Rasmus, you gave a pretty comprehensive answer, pretty much countering everything Stephen Miller had to say before I asked this question. But if you could say one thing to Stephen Miller, what would you like to say?
I hope he's kept away from young women, because that's the mentality of a rapist. You can't.
Calling Stephen Miller the mentality of a rapist sounds so anti-Semitic. Also, guys, like, don't fucking joke about anti-Semitism in this chat, because nothing that I have said is anti-Semitic, and joking about shit like that is actually really stupid. Because when people do say anti-Semitic stuff, like when Anna Kasparian is like, our country has been taken over by the Zionists, it's like, no, our country is the Zionists. That's the point of this shit. Like, I want to have the room to be able to call this shit out. And if we're like, oh, you said that Stephen Miller is the shadow president, that's so anti-Semitic of you, like, I'm just going to ignore you. Like, that's absolutely ridiculous.
Defend yourself, so I'm going to take you.
Technically, you're speculating on the outcome, but I'm trying to be kind. What are you talking about? It can be used as a strategic launching point for our military, like Alaska. Is that why taking over Canada would also be good? Dude, if you think the United States going to war with every country in the world is good, then you're just brain broken. Like, what do you want me to say? You're like, we should invade Canada. We should start a war with Canada. We should start a war with NATO, because that could potentially bring us to a launching point from our military. Like, what's the launching point? Who else do we have left to fight at that point? We're already in a Cold War with Russia. We're already essentially in a Cold War with China. We're tanking our relationships with Canada and the European Union now.
That's basically what he's saying. And it has never been like that in international law that he's saying. On the contrary, the United States have signed several treaties with Denmark recognizing the ownership. One of them was in 1917. Actually, you see the painting right behind my shoulder here. Those men that you can just see there, they sold the Virgin Islands to the Americans in 1917. Part of that deal was you get the Virgin Islands and you recognize full Danish control over Greenland. So it has never been the U.S. position that we don't have a right to Greenland. They signed several treaties, and the entire world voted for Greenland's full integration into Denmark in 1954 in the UN Plenary Assembly in New York, including the United States. So this is a new position from the American government, and we have to be able to trust the promises, the words, and the alliances that we make with the Americans, because otherwise it's not worth anything being an ally of the Americans. And I think it's very crucial that we stay together because our alliance, our partnership has kept us safe. U.S. administration is saying they don't want their adversaries to take over Greenland. But please don't make Europe your adversaries. We don't want that.
All right, Rasmus, I will say that there was a very harsh analogy that you made there at the top of...
Oh, it was a very harsh analogy. Give me a fucking break. We're talking about the entire takeover of a sovereign country. And you're like, oh, comparing taking over, comparing doing a military occupation of a land to rapists is a harsh... That analogy has been used forever. That analogy has been used since, like, the history of people taking over lands. Oh my God. What else? What else do we have? Let's go to X, the everything app. Canada is necessary when we fight Russia. Yeah, okay. What is this? This is most radicalizing images as of late. Oh man, this is so stupid. Let's look up what are the conservatives saying about Greenland? I mean, we know what Stephen Miller's saying. President Trump just dropped a truth bomb. Greenland is going to happen. Dude, also, like, the thing that Trump said, like, he wrote a letter to He wrote a letter to Denmark saying that, like, since he didn't win the Nobel Peace Prize, he's now no longer solely interested in peace. Okay, breaking. John Fetterman. Breaking. Democratic Senator John Fetterman comes out in defense of the Trump administration trying to acquire Greenland. I remind people it's actually closer to us geographically, North America, than Denmark and Europe. It's not an absurd idea. Yeah, okay. Should we give up Alaska to Canada then? Italian PM Giorgia Meloni blasts the EU for their pathetic attacks on Trump over Greenland. She talked to him hours ago. I spoke with Donald Trump a few hours ago. It's important to talk to each other. Okay. Okay, what did Keir Starmer say? Go to him quick.
With the United States. The UK and the US are close allies and close partners. That relationship matters profoundly, not just to our security, but to the prosperity and the stability that people here depend upon. Under President Trump, as under previous presidents, we're determined to keep that relationship strong, constructive, and focused on results. And that approach is delivering. Through sustained engagement, we've seen significant US investment into the UK economy, running into hundreds of billions of pounds, supporting growth, skills, and jobs right across the country. Our cooperation on defense, nuclear capability, and intelligence remains as close.
Bro, this guy's a sir? They're just knighting anyone now in the UK. Progressive must really not like Fetterman. I mean, you voted for a vegetable, and then he turned on you when he was able to start talking again. Yeah, that's not wrong. Let's be let's be real. Canada won't be much of a conflict. And then we can finally send Lance from the serfs to the gulag for banning me. Oh my god, dude. Yeah, take out all your frustrations on Lance on his channel. Oh wait, I guess you can't. You got banned.
Close and effective as anywhere in the world, keeping Britain safe in an increasingly dangerous environment. We've secured good trading terms in key sectors, including cars, steel, aerospace, and life sciences, protecting British jobs and manufacturers. That is why we take the approach that we do, because it delivers concrete outcomes in the national interest. I talk regularly to President Trump, and my team is in daily contact with all the key figures in his administration. These relationships matter. They deliver concrete outcomes in the national interest. Mature alliances are not about pretending differences don't exist. They are about addressing them directly, respectfully, and with a focus on results. On Greenland, the right way to approach an issue of this seriousness is through calm discussion between allies. And let's be clear, the security of Greenland matters. And it will matter more as climate change reshapes the Arctic, as sea routes open and strategic competition intensifies. The High North will require greater attention, greater investment, and stronger collective defence. The United States will be central to that effort, and the UK stands ready to contribute fully alongside our allies through NATO. But there is a principle here that cannot be set aside, because it goes to the heart of how stable and trusted international cooperation works. And so any decision about the future status of Greenland belongs to the people of Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark alone. That right is fundamental, and we support it. Denmark is a close ally of the United Kingdom and of the United States, a proud NATO member that has stood shoulder to shoulder with us, including with the...
What the fuck is all of this shit? Is going to be Hugh Grant socking into Billy Thornton? So they're just like, what is this? Any decision he didn't say or do the same thing for the people of Chagos, monumental hypocrite. And fucking course, but who cares? Who cares if he's a hypocrite? Like, it does. Dude, first of all, hypocrisy is the lowest form of political analysis, being like, oh, he's a hypocrite. Second of all, it doesn't matter if he's a hypocrite. What matters is that there are going to be repercussions for Donald Trump taking over Greenland. Namely, like tanking American European relations. What did he say here? I had a very good phone call with Mark Rutte, the Secretary General of NATO, concerning Greenland. I agreed to a meeting of the various parties in Davos, Switzerland. As I expressed to everyone very plainly, Greenland is imperative for national and world security. There can be no going back on that. Everyone agrees. The U.S. is the most powerful country anywhere on the globe by far. Blah, 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 blah. We are the only power that can ensure peace throughout the world. And it is done quite simply through strength. So Donald Trump released the DMs. Trump DMs. Yeah, he released the DMs with Macron. Where are they? Be careful sliding into the Donald's DMs. The world might learn something, but more about you. Take the message Trump shared early Tuesday from French President Emmanuel Macron, which the Élysée Palace says is authentic. In it, Macron says he doesn't... Okay, you can't just fucking post the DMs. You have to summarize what it said. He doesn't understand the American strategy with respect to Greenland. The French president also offers to set up a G7 meeting in Paris after Trump leaves Davos, where he's attending this year's. Macron then invites Trump to dinner in Paris. Now it seems straightforward. Friendship. What he said. My friend. What he meant. We are totally in line on Syria. What he meant. Syria is undoubtedly Iran. We can do great things on Iran. Okay, yeah, we fucking know what he means by this. We don't need your, like, 20 different words to summarize this shit. God. Why can't they just, like, actually post the fucking DMs that Donald Trump leaked? Where's the Macron DMs? Telegraph. Here we go. Finally. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Dude, what the... Alright, fuck it. We're gonna go to images. Open image, new tab. My friend, we are totally in line on Syria. We can do great things on Iran. I do not understand what you are doing on Greenland. Let's try to build great things. I can set up a G7 meeting after Davos in Paris on Thursday afternoon. I can invite the Ukrainians, the Danish, the Syrians, and the Russians in the margins. Let us have a dinner together in Paris together on Thursday before you go back to the U.S., Emmanuel. Dude, I'm so, like, sick of being infantilized by shit like Politico, where they're like, he said my friend. What does that mean? Why would he say my friend? He said, let us have dinner together. What could that possibly mean? You see, dinner is a phenomena where humans get together when the sun is past its zenith and they have a substantial meal, usually the biggest of the day. Sometimes important discussions can be had at dinner. It is called mealtime. Give me a just post the goddamn DMs. Jesus Christ. Fucking hate this shit. Everything is like, oh, we can't actually just show you the DMs. We have to summarize what he said and then give you a stupid fucking analysis of it. Let us have a dinner together in Paris on Thursday before you go back to the US. What he meant. A good dinner in Paris. Dude, is this just written by AI? Is this actually just written by AI? A good dinner in Paris might be a way to Trump's heart. Europeans have noted that pomp and ceremony puts the US president in a good mood. The NATO summit in The Hague last year was considered as a successful example of Trump cajoling, with lots of flattery and hobnobbing with royalty. Macron has also developed a knack for dinner diplomacy, having invited Hungary's Viktor Orban over several times in dinners in Paris. God. Such brain dead shit. Okay. All right. Done with this. Let's talk about how ICE agents are, like, beating the fuck out of people in Minnesota. Oh, here's another one. Here's more DMs. Note from President Emmanuel Macron of France. Thank you to Mark Rutte, the General Secretary of NATO. So also, when I was listening to this interview when I was listening to the radio talking about Donald Trump releasing these DMs, so like Macron said he complimented Trump on all of his accomplishments. I'm like, what accomplishments? And then these are the accomplishments. We are totally in line on Syria. What the fuck has Donald Trump done on Syria? We can do great things on Iran. He's not saying that he did anything in Iran. He's just like, we can do great. Like, Donald Trump bombed Iran, did absolutely nothing, and then is like, we're going to go to war if they start building more nuclear weapons, or we're going to like bomb them again. Okay. So we need to talk about these. We need to talk about what's going on in Minnesota, because shit's bad and it's just getting worse. And I think that this is really interesting. So you have here, oh yeah, the other day, some people invaded a church, according to conservatives. So let's go, Minnesota church protest. Protestant. Anti-ICE protests at Minnesota church prompts DOJ investigation. And I just think this is so interesting. So we have a DOJ investigation for this. You have DOJ investigation, Walz and Fry. So DOJ investigating Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry over alleged conspiracy to impede immigration agents. So then you have DOJ investigation on Renee Good wife. Greenland has penguins, doesn't it? Don't you want penguins? Dude, fuck penguins. Penguins are the rats of the Arctic. Federal officials investigating Renee Good's partner, those sources say. Okay? And then Jonathan Ross. Okay, so look, this is what we're getting from the Department of Justice. People go to a church to protest because the pastor at the church is like the director of ICE in Minnesota, something like that. So they're going to protest him. Then the people protesting the guy get investigated. You have the mayor of the city of Minneapolis and the governor of Minnesota saying, like, ICE agents need to leave the state. They get investigated. You have a woman whose wife got shot in the fucking face, and she's getting investigated. However, did the guy who actually shot look at this, did the guy who actually shot Renee Good, murdered her out of a rage because she disobeyed his order, is he getting investigated? Nope. Top Trump official says FBI won't investigate killing by ICE agent. The DOJ targets now include victim Renee Good's widow, Governor Walz, and Mayor Frey, but not the shooter, Jonathan Ross. So what we're seeing right here is definitely, I mean, this is a complete use of, like, this is just a dictatorship. Like, the use of the Justice Department to go after political opponents, literally getting away with murder for your own kind of jackbooted thugs that you're sending out into the streets. Like, it's absolutely disgusting. So we need to get this. We need to lay the groundwork for all of this. So let's listen.
The U.S. Department of Justice is investigating an anti-ICE protester group who disrupted a church service in the Twin Cities over the weekend.
This happened at City's Church in St. Paul, where activists allege a pastor there works for ICE. Our So Young Kim joining us now to take a look at this situation. So Young, the DOJ's probe focuses on whether protesters...
Well, activists allege that it was? Are you going to look that up? Minneapolis church protest. Minneapolis church protest. Okay. Oh, they allege that it was. Trump officials investigate protesters who interrupted Minnesota church service targeting ICE official. Sunday morning church service in the Twin Cities interrupted by anti-immigration and customs enforcement protesters. By the way, that's probably the most exciting thing that has happened in that church and like the entire existence of that church. It looked pretty sad. Assistant Attorney General Harmteen Dillon, who oversees the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice, announced an investigation within hours, calling the protesters' actions desecrating a house of worship and interfering with Christian worshipers. Cry me a fucking river. Attacks against law enforcement and the intimidation of Christians are being met with the full force of federal law. But literally fucking murdering someone, that doesn't even warrant an investigation. Dozens of people rushed into the city's church in St. Paul Sunday morning, interrupting the church service and leading to tense confrontations. Videos posted by activists and content creators show the St. Paul Police Department, ICE out, the demonstrators were there to protest David Easterwood, who is listed as a pastor at the church and appears to be the same David Easterwood who is a top ICE official in the Twin Cities. He was recently named as a defendant in a case brought by protesters who allege immigration agents had violated their First and Fourth Amendment rights. David Easterwood out now, protesters yelled at one point. Watch the video. If this works.
The Department of Justice said it's investigating a group of protesters who disrupted a church service in Minnesota. Protesters allege that one of the church's pastors, David Easterwood, is a leader of the local ICE field office, according to the Associated Press.
Renee Good!
That office is overseeing operations that have involved violent tactics and alleged illegal arrests.
God,
Video was posted on the Facebook page.
Oh, they don't even have pews? They're just in like shitty lawn chairs? Okay, get some pews. This is a bad look for the church. First of all, you have an ICE agent preaching at your fucking church. What's he preaching about? How to be the most fucking anti-immigrant? How to be the most racist person you can be? That's your fucking preacher? Protesters interrupt St. Paul church service. Hey, Pastor Dan Easterwood works as an ICE officer. David Easterwood. Lawyer and activist Nekima Levy Armstrong, that's a sick name, was one of the protesters in the room. She said the objective was to raise awareness. We expect someone to align with the teachings of Christianity, loving thy neighbor, showing care for each other, and spreading the good news. However, you are also serving as the director of the ICE office in St. Paul. From my perspective, that's a problem. The website of City's Church lists David Easterwood as a pastor, and his personal information appears to match that of the David Easterwood identified in court filings as the acting director of the ICE St. Paul field office. Easterwood appeared alongside DHS Secretary Kirsty Noem at a Minneapolis press conference last October. Oh no.
Homeland Security
Where's my boy? Where's my boy Easterwood? Is this him? Is this the pink little man who's in two? Is this the guy that's like looks like he's stuffed in a sausage casing that's too tight?
Also here locally,
Bro, this is your fucking pastor? This like pink pasty guy who's looks like he's gonna die of heart disease in 6 months from now.
local counties that assigned a 287G program to help us be able to make sure we're getting criminal, illegal aliens off of our streets and out of our communities and off of our roads so that we can protect individuals going forward. The people of this state deserve peace, and I'm hopeful that we'll continue to see that through the good work of these law enforcement officers in front of us. If you get the chance today, thank someone who defends our laws. Our laws matter, and if we don't like them, we change them, but in the meantime, we're going to continue to work to make America safe again. With that, I want to turn it over to Sam, who's going to talk a little bit about some of the work that this office in particular has done.
That's not David Easterwood, that's Sam.
Operations, ERO St. Paul.
This is David Easterwood. Okay. All right, so he's not the fucking sausage guy. This guy actually looks like more of a preacher.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Secretary.
And we will continue to do so with the same determination and resolve that has defined our work thus far. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Secretary Noem, for your leadership and for taking the time to join us here today Your presence underscores the importance of the work we do every day. And
ew, that guy's creepy looking. Okay, David Easterwood. What's his church called? What's the church called? We're a church. We're local. Okay, well, what's the church called? The church is called blah, 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 blah. Minnesota Church Service. City's Church in St. Paul. Is it the same guy? Because if it's not the same guy, then I don't know. These guys got it wrong. I have to say. About I'm new Sunday's community leadership. It is the same guy. It's literally him. Okay. So they got the right guy. Good. Wow. All of these guys look the exact same. It's like they grew they have just, what is this? The middle-aged balding white man spawning grounds? The city's church in St. Paul. Okay. So anyway, people go there. They're like, fuck you. Yeah, like you're not learning Christianity properly. And then the Justice Department is like, no, this cannot stand. We have to show that we care about white Christian men. That's what we have to do. Okay, sorry. Where were we? So this was alleged. Right? Oh, the pastor allegedly works there. Yeah, you can do some investigating.
Disrupted a church service in the Twin Cities over the weekend.
This happened at City's Church in St. Paul, where activists allege a pastor there works for ICE. Our So Young Kim joining us now to take a look at this situation. So Young, the DOJ's probe focuses on whether protesters violated what's called the federal...
You're not going to do any investigation into whether the allegation's true, and not just that he works for ICE. He's the field office director of St. Paul for ICE. Oh, the activists allege that a pastor there works for ICE. His face is on he was behind Kirsty Noem. His face is on the fucking website.
FACE Act. That's right. The FACE Act provides protections for people exercising their religious freedom to worship at church without intimidation or interference. Dozens of protesters chanting after entering City's Church in St. Paul during Sunday service. Activists say the group was there to call out a pastor who is the acting director of the ICE St. Paul field office. At one point in the video, you can see one of the other pastors who was at the church at the time addressing the crowd. Just hours after the incident, the U.S. Department of Justice announced it's investigating potential violations of the...
Bro, religion gets way too much protection in this country, and it's just so fucking annoying. It's like, oh, you can't interrupt religious meetings. Okay, well, if like the people are doing fucking horrible politics, you can protest that shit.
Federal FACE Act. So what is the FACE Act? It stands for the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act of 1994. As the name suggests, it provides federal protections for reproductive health services, but also protects religious freedom as a First Amendment right. It prohibits the act or attempts to intimidate, interfere, or injure any person exercising their religious freedom at a place of worship. In response to this incident, a spokesperson for Governor Tim Walz sent Fox News this statement that reads, quote, "The governor has repeatedly and unequivocally urged protesters to do so peacefully, while people have a right to speak."
Dude, I mean, we're comparing access to a fucking clinic to getting preached to by a bunch of white supremacists. Okay. Yeah, those are the same thing, right?
Speak out. He in no way supports interrupting a place of worship. And Attorney General Pam Bondi says...
Okay, so anyway, we have the DOJ investigating this, anti-ICE. Then we have the DOJ investigating Tim Walz and Jacob Fry, because they were anti-ICE. After an alleged conspiracy to impede federal immigration agents, an extraordinary escalation in the Trump administration's clash with Democratic leaders, there are multiple sources familiar with the matter told CBS News. One of the sources, a U.S. official, said the investigation stems from statements that Walz and Fry made about the thousands of immigration and customs enforcement officers and border patrol agents deployed to the Minneapolis region. There was an obvious attempt to intimidate me for standing up for Minneapolis, our local law enforcement, and our residents against the chaos and danger this administration has brought to our streets. Fry said in a statement to CBS News, "I will not be intimidated. My focus will remain where it's always been, keeping our city safe." 2 days ago, it was Alyssa Slotkin. Last week, it was Jerome Powell. Before that, Mark Kelly. Weaponizing the justice system and threatening political opponents is a dangerous authoritarian tactic. The only person not being investigated for the shooting of Renee Good is the federal agent who shot her. Yeah, I mean, Walls lays it out pretty well right here. It's like Donald Trump just uses the Department of Justice to intimidate his political opposition. And then you have, they're investigating the church shootings. Where else were we? Federal officials investigating Renee Good's partner, the sources are saying. So they're doing an investigation about the shooting, but it's not about the shooter. They're investigating Renee Good's partner.
Tense confrontations late into the night in the Minneapolis area. A federal show of force outside this ICE detention facility. County sheriffs then closing the street, keeping anti-ICE protesters back. While downtown, dueling demonstrations Saturday afternoon.
I'm 100% on board with ICE in every way. If I could join them, I would.
Heated
Dude, you can't join ICE? Jesus.
clashes as a conservative influencer and January 6th defendant who was pardoned by President Trump attempted to lead a small anti-Somali march.
And right in front of the Minneapolis City Hall, you see that conservative pre-planned protest, but you have anti-ICE protesters surrounding them, trying to drown out that message.
Courtroom sketch artist Isabel Browerman attempted to depict the scene.
What's the motion that describes the scene that you're drawing?
I think right now it's just sort of like manufactured chaos.
It's the latest round of protests.
Okay, anyway,
After the fatal shooting.
Federal officials are investigating Renee Good's partner to determine whether she may have impeded a federal officer moments before he shot and killed Renee Good in Minneapolis. The federal investigation into the shooting by ICE officer Jonathan Ross is focusing more on Becca Good, including what officials said were her possible ties to activist groups, and less on Ross's actions when he fired into Renee Good's vehicle. So, I mean, if you are resisting against them in any way, you're going to be investigated, essentially. Kash Patel said on exit, agents were on the ground, cracking down on violent rioters and investigating the funding network, supporting the criminal actors with multiple arrests already. Yeah, I mean, if you're like a leftist, if you're anti-Trump, then you're going to be investigated. You're a terrorist, essentially. And then a bunch of federal prosecutors resigned because they were told to not investigate the killer, but investigate the killer's wife. And then this is also important. Top Trump official says FBI won't investigate killing by ICE agent. DOJ targets now include victim Renee Good's widow, Governor Walz, and Mayor Frey, but not the shooter, Jonathan Ross. Okay, so where's this interview? This was 16 hours ago.
It's been nearly 10 days since an ICE officer shot and killed protester Renee Good. And tensions are boiling over in Minnesota. Protesters turned out in the freezing cold as immigration sweeps intensify. As ABC's Michelle Franzen reports, ICE said over the weekend it's made thousands of arrests in Minneapolis since Operation Surge began.
Operation Metro Surge. I mean, can't even get that right. What the fuck?
Because I know where MLK would be on this day if he was still alive. He'd be right.
Where's the fucking... Where does it say the DOJ said the agent was justified?
Homeland Security says DHS law enforcement has arrested 3
1,000 people in the past 6 weeks. Multiple attorneys allege some of those detained during operations and protests, including at least one U.S. citizen, have been denied by DHS their constitutional right to see an attorney. In a statement, DHS is denying those claims, adding all detainees, quote, have opportunities to communicate with their family members and lawyers.
ICE out! Protect our route!
Despite the cold, protests have not stopped. Community response members warning residents when ICE agents are nearby and taking down vital information of those taken into custody.
Videotape, do constitutional observing, blow whistles, let neighbors know that ICE is on the block and it's not safe to come outside.
Michelle Franzen, ABC News, New York.
Oh, that was not what I was looking for at all. The Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche has said the Department of Justice will not be investigating the ICE agent who killed Renee Nicole Macklin Good, while also confirming reports that it is looking into charges against Minnesota's top officials. Speaking to Fox News, come on, we just need to see this interview. Todd Blanche, Fox News.
Joins me now. Deputy Attorney General, thanks for being with us here today. Let's talk about what we saw take place in that church.
This guy looks like Steve Carell that got melted a little bit.
In St. Paul. My understanding is the DOJ is investigating the people that stormed into that church.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what you saw there was anti-Christian, anti-law enforcement rioters storming
anti-law
in this
enforcement
country, and that's a violation of law. And we are absolutely investigating. Our Civil Rights Unit has already sent experts out to Minneapolis today. The Civil Rights Unit, the U.S. Attorney's Office, the FBI, DHS is investigating this because what you saw the fear in the eyes of the members of that church. That fear should be extended to every single American. That's happening in a city in this country, and we are.
Okay, so we care about the fear of people that are going to church, but they don't care about the fear of people that are getting kidnapped out of their houses every day in Minneapolis by ICE agents.
Civil Rights Division, violation of law. What law specifically can you look at these perpetrators under?
Well, look, there's a number of laws, but the FACE Act was passed to stop this exact type of conduct. You are not allowed to stop people.
Oh, shit. God, I hate the Fox News media player.
Worshiping. And you're not allowed to intimidate or impede them. And so the individuals that went in there and did that, and you could tell that they had a plan, you could tell that they had an agenda, and you cannot do that in this country. And we are investigating it, and I expect that we will move very aggressively, very quickly to find the people that did this.
We have the provisions of the key provisions of the FACE Act up on the screen. It preserves freedom of access to clinic entrances. It goes back to 1994, and it goes to abortion clinics in large part. It reads that it prohibits using force, threats to block people from reproductive health facilities, but it also forbids impeding places of worship as well, and it forbids damaging facilities and churches. We did see a lot of people.
You just know that it was fucking Republicans of the time, like the Christian fundamentalists of the time that are like, oh, well, if you're passing a law that says you can't impede people going to abortion clinics, then you have to pass a law saying that you can't impede people going to places of worship, too.
Deputy Attorney General under the previous administration who simply prayed outside of abortion clinics, prosecuted under the FACE Act. So this now, you're suggesting, also has an application to places of worship, as we just had up on the screen. And what would be the potential punishment for any of the people involved in this?
Well, it's a crime. And so they will face a jury if they're
disgraced former CNN host Don Lemon was part of the crowd that went into that church. He suggested that
so as our Assistant Attorney General said yesterday,
is he not going to talk about he's not going to talk about the investigation into Walls or Jonathan Ross? Fox News. Where's the fucking video? We're investigating 15 Epstein files missing. Todd Blanche, Fox News. Becca. Where's the fucking interview? It won't investigate. Here we go.
Well, the governor's response referenced a number of things, going after Mark Kelly, he says, Alyssa Slotkin, Jerome Powell. But he also mentioned what Matt Finn mentioned in his reporting there. He says the only person not being investigated for the shooting of Renee Good is the federal agent who shot her. So is the FBI conducting an investigation into that agent, into the shooting? What can you tell us about that? Will it be made public?
Look, what happened on that day has been reviewed by millions and millions of Americans because it was recorded on phones when it happened. Okay, the Department of Justice, our civil rights unit, we don't just go out and.
Bro, what the fuck is this guy talking about? It's been viewed by millions of Americans because it was recorded on phones as it happened. Like, yeah. Okay, why would you say that? It's like, well, I'm sitting here today and I'm able to talk to you because I'm vibrating my vocal cords, producing an auditory simulation that will reach your ears. Like, what's the point of saying that?
Millions of Americans because it was recorded on phones when it happened. Okay, the Department of Justice, our civil rights unit, we don't just go out and investigate every time an officer is forced to defend himself against somebody or putting his life in danger. We never do. That has nothing to do with what happened in Minneapolis.
We don't always go investigate when an officer is forced to defend himself from somebody putting his life in danger. We never do. So if there are any brain dead conservatives that are watching this right now, the reason you would investigate this is so that you can prove he was in fact defending himself. If there is no investigation, then you can't say definitively that he was defending himself. You can't say definitively that he had to use that lethal force. Otherwise, what if he's just saying, I'm looking at the video and I'm seeing a man defending himself, so he did the right thing. Other people can just say, I'm looking at the video, I'm seeing a man murdering someone, he should be in prison, or like he should himself be killed, he should be executed. Like, this guy is not using his authority to watch these videos. He is just if he's not doing an investigation, he is no better than anyone else just watching the videos and giving an opinion on the internet. That's what it amounts to. So it is so endlessly ironic that the Justice Department is like, we watch the videos, he's not defending himself, or that he is defending himself, thus we won't do the investigation. You are pleading from your conclusion, like they're coming up with their conclusion that he defended himself and then using their conclusion as the justification to not actually do an investigation, which would lead them to a conclusion. Like, they're just, at this point, it is just, someone got murdered. Well, just trust us, they got murdered for a good reason. And then if you ask them, well, why are you saying that it was a good reason? They're just like, we don't need to tell you why. We just know that it was a good reason. Thus, we won't look into why it was a good reason.
There are over 1,000 shootings every year where law enforcement are put in danger by individuals.
Yeah, and all of those shootings are investigated to see if it's a justified use of lethal force.
They have to protect themselves, and they have a lawful right to do so. The Department of Justice doesn't just stand up and investigate because some congressman thinks we should, because some governor thinks that we should. We investigate when it's appropriate to investigate.
Well, who determines when you investigate or not? You? Like, even police departments, they have internal reviews, or they have local investigations done into whether, like, local rights groups investigating whether it was a good use of lethal force or not. So, I mean, this guy, great stooge for the Trump administration, I guess. Just like, it was self-defense, and I've come to that conclusion as self-defense. Don't worry about like whether we investigated it or not. I just can see it with my own eyes that it was self-defense.
Themselves, and they have a lawful right to do so. The Department of Justice just doesn't just stand up and investigate because some congressman thinks we should, because some governor thinks that we should. We investigate when it's appropriate to investigate, and that is not the case here. It wasn't the case when it happened, and it's not the case today. If circumstances change, and there's something that we do need to investigate around that shooting or any other shooting, we will. But we are not going to bow to pressure from the media, bow to pressure from politicians, and do something that we...
Wow, good for you. The brave little Department of Justice standing up and refusing to investigate a murderer. Good job. You're really a rebel sticking it to the media.
Never do. Not under this administration, not under the last administration. And so, no, we are not investigating. And if there comes a time when we need to, we will, but it's not now.
Is there some type of...
Like what? What? If you're not investigating, you're not going to find new evidence that would come to light. What the fuck are you talking about? How would you find more evidence if you're not doing an investigation into it? It's so mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling how evil and stupid of it. Like, they don't even care. It's just some of the stupidest excuses that you could, like, not even imagine that, oh, yeah, well, I just saw it's self-defense, so we're not going to invest. Well, you need to investigate to determine if it's self-defense or not. Okay, what? So do we have him talking about Timothy Wallamain? God, look at this fucking, like, piece of shit. They have reportedly been investigating Good's wife as well as Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. The day after Ross was killed, they announced they're preventing it from participating in the investigation. They were preventing the local government from participating in the investigation. So, like, not only are they saying we're not going to investigate because we don't want to be intimidated by politicians, which, first of all, you fucking should be intimidated by politicians. Like, at least take it into consideration if a politician is telling you to do something as the Department of Justice. And second of all, they're not just not investigating it, they're preventing the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehensions from investigating it. So, like, you're actively protecting this person. It's not just that you're not being intimidated, you're protecting the killer. Like, if he did nothing wrong, then you should welcome an investigation into him. The Trump administration's investigation into Good's family prompted the resignation of several federal prosecutors in Minnesota, with more poised to resign soon, according to reporting from my colleague Samantha Michaels. On Friday, the DOJ announced it is investigating Governor Tim Walz and Mayor Jacob Frey, alleging that they are conspiring to impede in federal immigration agents. This is an obvious attempt to intimidate me for standing up for Minneapolis, our local law enforcement, and our residents against the chaos and danger this administration has brought to our streets, Frey said in a statement to CBS News. I will not be intimidated. My focus will remain where it's always been, keeping our city safe. Days earlier, Blanche had accused the two men of terrorism. Come on. ICE operates in thousands of counties without incident, men and women doing their jobs protecting us from criminal aliens. Minnesota insurrection is a direct result of a failed governor and a terrible mayor, encouraging violence against law enforcement. It's disgusting. Walz and Frey, I'm focused on stopping you from your terrorism by whatever means necessary. This is not a threat, it's a promise. And what was he responding to? I'm told by 4 law enforcement officers' sources that there has been another ICE-involved shooting in Minneapolis tonight. I'm told ICE was making contact with a target who then allegedly assaulted an officer with a shovel or swung a shovel. Assaulted an ICE officer with a shovel or swung a shovel. Shots were fired and the suspect ran back to the house. No info yet on if anyone was actually shot. It's just that shots were fired. So an ICE agent shoots someone, and this fucking dumbass, Todd Blanche, says Walz and Frey is doing terrorism. Okay. Hey, Meow's, how's it going? Happy to see you here. Jeez. Okay, this is what I want to do. What's that guy's name? Jake Lang. I want to look up more tweets for Jake Lang because I think it's so funny. January Sixers. Dude, holy shit. Jake Lang is talking about how he's like a Christian supremacist, and then photos are coming out of him like kissing the Wailing Wall in Israel. Dude, I love right-wing infighting. Christian activist Jake Lang, and they post this. What are the comments? You're missing the point. There's nothing Christian about him, like usual. America is a Christian country, Jake Lang. And that's what he says. Today, America is a Christian country. Will not allow Somali daycare pirates. I mean, he's just a grifter, right? He is as Hebrew as my standard poodle. Worst psyop ever. So stupid. Dude, this is fucking crazy. Like, conservatives are just eating each other alive. You're not perfectly white Christian. My pants leg literally being ripped off. Death before dishonor and replacement. The Lord, oh my God, give it up, bro. The fucking Christian shtick is so old. The Lord is my rock and my strength. He hath delivered me from the mouth of lions. Hey, dude, calling Minneapolis, Minnesotans lions. More Christian infighting. All right, come on, let's hear it.
Everybody's like, Brandon, the Guardian Fund should go and help Jake Lang. Pull him up. I said, who? You talking about, pull him up. You talking about this guy who I saw this clip not too long ago. I saw him getting his butt whooped at the protest, and I said, wait a minute, who is that? That's this guy. Roll the clip.
Go back, AIPAC, go back. That's the AIPAC building right there. White Christian men are not going to sit around while you turn our children into a bunch of lovers.
We're going the wrong way. Where are we going?
Simple. I was just showing them the AIPAC building on my stream.
But, guys, we'll see you in Minnesota January 17th. Be there. If you guys are watching this and you're inspired.
January 17th.
I don't think that's AI. I don't think that's AI.
January 17th. Oh, yeah. Wait. So a black conservative is getting asked by his audience why he doesn't support a white supremacist who openly advocates for, for ethnic cleansing of non-white people. Jake Lang leaving Minneapolis. Jake Lang's life was saved by an African-American man, and he was treated by a Somali-American terrorist. A stark reminder that humanity and professionalism rise above racism. All right, here.
End of the day, my job.
Way to be fucking brave and trying to fucking do something.
Yeah, my job, my purpose on earth, and my spirit told me I'm the son of God, right? A lot of people gonna think I'm lying. And I just showed you again.
They got Jake Lang's best.
It shows you again that I don't have to lie, but I move off love and unity. And that's how Jesus walked. If y'all Christians, that's how Yahweh walked. If y'all Africans.
More evidence against Jake Lang being a Christian. More white supremacy. It's crazy how time is cyclical. Nazi Jake Lang was protected and escorted to safety by a black man. Bro, this guy's such a fucking loser. All of his lackey friends ran away as soon as they started, getting surrounded by the crowd of angry people. This was an attempted murder. So everyone's like, wow, this guy really protected Jake Lang. And this guy's like, this was an attempted murder. After being beaten unconscious by a Democrat-aligned mob, Jake Lang was dragged back into the crowd and stabbed. Read that again. They didn't stop him when he was down. They didn't walk away. They tried to kill him. Yeah, dude. Okay, let's see the clip of him getting stabbed. The fucking Frozen music too, so that Fox News can't play this shit without being copyright striked. I mean, it's so fucking ironic saying that this guy who fucking participated in January 6th is the one who's the victim of terrorism. Can you imagine if these were January 6thers against, I don't know, Mike Pence? How do you think that would have gone? Oh no, the brutality, throwing balloons of water at him. Minneapolis today equals America tomorrow if the left wins. Mobs hunting whites, attacking patriots, police watching. Police watching. Oh my god. Watching the police. They hate us, they want us gone. Spartans didn't negotiate with invaders. They kicked them into the pit. Right, wake up, the war is here. Oh my god, dude, holy fuck. Stack of truths. Oh, this is so fucking good. Next time he should learn to respect people's religion. Oh man, the images that are coming out of this are so fucking funny. God, I'm just so happy. Dude, that was hilarious. They fucking posted like a 300 meme. We just need to kick them into the pit. Okay, but by that logic, wouldn't you want these guys to, instead of like talking to him and trying to debate him out, wouldn't you want them to just like throw him into the Mississippi River? Oh no, what does this guy have? Jake Lang receiving a moment of, look at me, I'm the captain now. He's never coming back to Minnesota. He tried to save Jake Lang's life today. Conservatives are now demanding the federal government step in and arrest the entire crowd that dragged Christian activist Jake Lang through the streets of Minneapolis, nearly killing him after Minneapolis police refused to respond until after the attack.
Door!
I don't really see him nearly being killed. He's just like trying to move his way through the crowd.
Door! Oh my god. Drive! Oh my god. Just drive!
Drive!
Stop! Wait, let them go! Let them go!
This is not good, people. This is not good. Don't open up the door as a Nazi's trying to leave your city and keep kicking them. Don't do that.
Hey, pull over, pull over, pull over. Hey, leave it. Get out of here. Leave it up. Get out of here. No. Y'all just let him leave. It's not working. Hey! We don't know him. Stop. Hey, let him out. Let him out.
We got his back! We got his back!
When did the Minneapolis police get there? After he ran into his hotel? Oh man. How it started.
Up against the Somali invasion of Minneapolis, the immediate deportation of Ilhan Omar, and the arrest of the scammer Tim Walz. Come join us 1 p.m. here, Minneapolis City Hall will be burning corruption.
How it started, how it's going.
Let him go, y'all!
Still waiting for the clip where he gets stabbed, by the way. This is fucking crazy. It's crazy because like, are these people with cameras like from the press? Like, are they just here as freelance photographers and they're basically mosh pitting? Like all of these conservatives that are like, this was a brutal, violent crowd. It's like half of the people there were press. The fucking absolute unit that's there with the speaker too, just playing Frozen. Yeah, he's all about white people standing up, but at the end of the day, he had to get pulled up and out of that crowd by 2 black people. This is Jake Lane burning a Quran and a Talmud. He is a Christian. All his videos, he's saying Christ is king. Oh my God. Conservatives are so funny. Okay. And then to wrap it up, Alaska troops. Minnesota. Wow, I did not even spell Alaska correctly. The Army is putting 1,500 Alaska soldiers on standby for possible Minnesota deployment, AAP sources say. It's so funny. It's so fucking funny. Like, in Minnesota right now, it's like -30 with the wind chill. And so they have to get Alaskan troops that are that specialize in Arctic weather to be on standby to deploy in Minnesota for when Donald Trump, I don't know if he will declare the Insurrection Act or not. Like, he might just kind of forget about Minnesota and focus on Greenland now, but it's so good.
About 1,500 active duty soldiers from the Army.
How old? This girl looks like she's 16.
Army's 11th Airborne Division in Alaska are on standby for possible deployment to Minneapolis. That's according to the Associated Press, who is citing 2 defense officials. Network news agencies are also reporting the same information about Alaskan soldiers. Protests in Minneapolis have intensified after Immigration and Customs Enforcement agent fatally shot Renee Good earlier this month. We reached out to a spokesperson for the 11th Airborne Division who directed all questions to the White House about the troops. And the chief Pentagon spokesperson released a statement to us saying the Department of War is always prepared to execute the orders of the commander-in-chief if called upon, but did not comment directly on what the U.S. defense officials told the AP. This comes as it's been another weekend of clashes in Minneapolis. Ian Lee is in Minneapolis with the latest.
As protests.
Bro, imagine you're a reporter for a local like Alaskan radio show or like news show, and you're like, oh, I get to go out to some other place. I finally get to leave Alaska, and you get fucking deployed to Minnesota in January. Like, fuck. With negative 20 degrees wind chill.
In the streets of Minneapolis pit pro-ICE demonstrators against anti-ICE demonstrators. A U.S. defense official tells
pro-ICE
CBS
people.
1,500 active duty soldiers are on standby in Alaska for possible deployment to Minneapolis. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz also has the state's National
Anyway.
Guard on standby to support, quote, the rights of all who assemble peacefully.
Yeah, I don't think this is happen. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for me today. Everyone, have a great rest of your day, and hopefully I'll talk to you all later. Peace. See ya.